We will call this planning commission meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And everybody's hauling all the freight they can haul right now because the government put a new corporate tax on all businesses with trucks, and it's gonna up the cost.
All right, let's start with the next item, which is roll call.
Commissioner Mark Mazzoni.
Here.
Commissioner Martin Nicholas.
Here.
Commissioner Brian Palmer.
I'm here.
Chair Darrell Parham.
Present. All right, so this is our time for any non-agenda public comment. As we have no public, we will move on to number 4, which is conflicts of interest. Is there anyone here that has a conflict of interest with tonight's agenda?
I can't ask them, but I don't
Here, you want me
believe
to go
so.
out there and give you one?
All right, so we'll go on to the regular agenda. This is tabled from May 18th for additional review from the city botanist. This is the tree cutting permit for family truck repair at 600 North Weed Boulevard. And so I think everybody here has received and read through and reviewed the report from the city botanist.
Yeah.
Is there any
Nancy?
Yes, sir. Is there any discussion amongst the commissioners regarding that report and the contents thereof?
Minzy doesn't wanna cut down a tree anywhere, so, I mean, it's not really a fair, I've dealt with Minzy.
But Robert is our city tree specialist and has been for many years, and I think that his recommendations are still valid recommendations.
So he does not wanna cut down a tree, if I read it correctly, correct?
Those particular trees, as I read it, he doesn't feel that that they need to be.
A hazard is what
Yeah.
it says
Correct.
here, that's what he
He
said.
doesn't think it's in the way of the building.
So the way the report was that I read it was that the botanist had proposed that the original claim from the applicant was for fire prevention, and that proper limbing of those trees would pose less, mitigate to pose less threat, if any, of fire issues based on his observation of other items in the property. Specifically here, he states piles of tires as a fire hazard. So I drove by the property several times the last couple of weeks since receiving the report. There are piles of tires. There are tires outside the gate used for signage in the frontage, posts and things like that, as well as just random piles of tires. And so looking at it from the proposed fire prevention issue, I have to agree with the botanist report that those tires pose a higher threat than the trees do. But again, the tires can be removed without permit. So and it looks like we do have someone here to speak on that, so I would love to hear.
But he's
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the staff report before we move
Yeah,
on
the
to
staff
the agenda.
report.
So
was-
in front of you on the dais is the staff report. It's been brought to the city's attention, the applicant has retained services from a registered professional forester. The staff still recommends denial of the tree removal on the request by the applicants for visibility of new shop signs. The RFP's recommendation is recommending approval for those removal of trees. So we are saying if the RFP is stating that the trees are diseased and dying, which is what the registered professional forester is stating, that if you were to approve upon her, which you have not reviewed her report, but if you were to approve on her recommendations, we would request that the conditions of approval be that the city is requiring the applicant to follow all written conditions provided by the registered professional forester pertaining to the removal of the trees, the property survey requirements, log size, etc. The applicant is required to resubmit a tree cutting permit to the city of Weed reflecting the actual number of trees to be removed as indicated on the RPF's report and include a copy of the said report with the application.
So we didn't get a copy of that, but the
No,
fire
sir.
gal said trees are dying anyway.
The trees on the, not of their property though, the trees on the on the other side, right?
She has
Caltrans?
stated that Caltrans trees, trimming of the trees have allowed beetles to come in, which is causing an issue.
Okay.
So
I do not have a report yet, though.
Yeah, but you can't cut down Caltrans Street.
No, that's why they need to have a survey done, because the property lines are unknown.
Which I have that report here.
Not the survey, though.
Not the survey yet. I have been in contact
You
with
don't
the,
know, there's-
No, the trees cannot be removed until the property is surveyed.
So at this
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
we're not able to make a decision until we receive that survey then, is that?
At
Staff
this point,
report.
you would be denying the tree cutting removal for the reasons that they have on the application, which is attached to this, which does say fire prevention and visibility for new shop sign. You would be denying the tree cutting permit for that. But you would be approving a tree cutting permit pending that they follow all written conditions by the RPF, and we have to have the survey filed with the city, they have to do everything, they have to resubmit, application and the RPF's report along with the survey.
Question. Who's going to monitor that information?
Well, that would probably be Public Works in the building department. Code enforcement.
And how did we get a fence put up if we don't know where the property line is?
It's a good question.
How did we get a fence put up?
we have a fence put up because we have a property line already there, in our dimensions of our property. The trees that are stated outside of our property are Caltrans trees. We have to get a surveyor to see if the fence was not pushed back enough, so some of where the fence is could be our property also. Yeah, so the trees that are on our property, that is in our fence, are the ones closest to the shop. Now, those are the ones that are infested with these beetles, as the forestry lady have stated, same as Caltrans. I have her report here, if you want me to pass it to you.
So wouldn't Caltrans know where the property line is?
I don't think Caltrans would really, I don't know if they would monitor that, I have no idea.
I would
I'm not
think they
sure.
would-
I would think that they would know where the pins are and the lines are when they purchase the property.
I would think so.
So, but,
Caltrans would also know where they're at, so if nobody else does, would it hurt to have a state guy go by and mark them?
That's why they need to hire a surveyor to go out and survey their property. And that's a requirement, that is the requirement of the registered forester.
Okay.
so it sounds like we have two issues here. One is the trees on the Caltrans property, which may or may not be infested with these beetles, but also the trees that are firmly, we know are on your property, that are, at this point, you're saying are infested with said beetles, for sure.
And the question is, we have to make sure that the trees that they're wanting to take down are not Caltrans trees. That's why the
Nobody knows.
surveyor needs to come out.
Okay, so,
Well, I'm sorry, excuse me, the surveyor for the trees that we're questioning that may or may not be ours is on the back end of the property, not on the side.
That's not what Danielle told me. She said a surveyor needs to come out because they cannot remove a Caltrans tree.
What do you mean on the back end of it, like
on the
towards?
freeway side?
On the freeway side, like towards Motel 6? Or is it closer into your actual
I'm
business?
talking about the trees that were questionable are where the sign is on the back of the building. On the other side
On
of
the other
that
side of the fence?
Yes,
Okay.
it's just right there.
Yeah, those are the ones, okay.
Yes, and the ones that are on the side of the shop where when I walked in, you guys were stating about the tires, which were removed to where there's nothing around those tires. Those are the trees that are infested the most with this beetle she was speaking about.
That's on that back side, right? That's the one.
Where the container is, the
Right.
back side, the closest to
Right,
the
that
shop.
is the last meeting we were at, when we were not getting along very well. That was the side that I was saying, those are the trees that probably need to remove for your signage. And then you have a signage now on the back side, right, like towards, I can see it from the freeway, right? You guys did put some on the building.
On the
Okay.
building, yes.
But you've never had a survey.
No.
When did you When did you get that report that we haven't seen?
I just got this report.
How long ago did they do it? Did she do it, the person?
She contacted the city on Monday.
Okay.
So, it's never, none of the properties been surveyed.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, has to be surveyed. You can't cut
Yeah.
down so many feet of house. But see, I'm sure Caltrans is gonna do it. Aren't they still doing the mass removal of trees along the
They've
way?
already done it there.
That's
They've
all they're
already,
gonna
that's
do
all they're
there?
gonna
When
do
they
there.
did that thinning there, when we were there that day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's when they were doing that.
So we can't legally make a decision as a commission on this permit until the survey is completed then?
That's one of the forester's recommendations, is it has to be surveyed. That would be a city also requirement that it would need to be surveyed. We
Okay.
would not be able to go out because we cannot authorize them to cut down a tree on Caltrans property.
Gotcha.
Good.
But we-
Advantage job is to get a survey.
Apparently, they're pretty busy, so we have contacted survey, and we're just waiting for him to come out.
We still can act on this particular permit,
The two.
because this permit is talking about for fire protection and
the two
visibility.
trees, Right?
That's right,
And the two trees.
that's right.
But whose property are the two trees on? They've been
Yeah,
surveyed. How do you know?
They're
Well, I
inside
don't,
that
I don't
fence.
know that we need to know that at this particular point, because I think we need to deny this particular permit. So we're not cutting anybody's trees down,
Gotcha.
okay?
So you're denying the permit on, with waiting, having them have
To do that.
their land surveyed and then resubmit the application for what the forester
Correct.
is
Is that
saying?
a
Okay.
motion someone's
Well,
proposing?
before we go to a discussion of motion, I think we need to give the applicant a chance to present any other information that they may have.
Well, until we get a survey out for the trees that are in the back of the building, the ones that are closest to the shop building are trees, and those are the ones that are most infested with this beetle or multiple beetles that is stated in her report. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about that then, so,
Those are the one the forester looked at.
yeah, she looked at all the trees there and went around on the other side of the fence on the Caltrans property and looked at those trees also.
I would ask the State Department, I said, we trying to hire a surveyor, they got a whole herd of them out there. I call them up once and just be really polite to them and very nice and ask them if they show them where the property lines are. They have stakes out there. Caltrans has a special way of using a computer to find them.
Yes.
They don't have to send people out, they do, but they don't have to send them out like they used to, they just punch them in. It's modern technology.
Well,
we'll never
somebody's
do.
gotta know where the property lines are, you would think.
And I
mean,
believe the forester is requesting a surveyor
you
that
would
comes
think
out.
that, Yeah.
Okay.
You would think that they would, someone else.
We can't approve things that we don't know.
Well, you
Yeah.
could,
Yeah.
you talked about the two trees that they're asking for in the original, correct?
Didn't you have a survey when you put in the building?
Caltrans came out, there was a survey for the front of the property to put in our driveway. So we had that survey then. But I don't believe it was for the whole property all around. It was just from Motel 6 to as far out to the highway there and the back
Yeah,
end.
that's what I'm talking, they gave you a setback on the building,
Yes,
and the setback had to be on your property. So
yes.
they didn't put stakes down,
They put stakes in the front of the properties.
none on the sides or anything?
I believe not, no.
Wow.
I thought you, when you surveyed, you had to get by 3 points.
All right, well,
I'm surprised.
is there any further discussion of the commission, or do we ready to make motions?
Pretty much convinced. I mean, I know what we can do and what we can't.
And if the trees, are truly infested and diseased and dying, that's something that can be administratively approved. It would not have to come back to the commission.
And number two, I thought that anybody on property in the city of Weed was allowed to remove 2 trees a year if they have more than 20, which they do around the property. More than 2 a year for firewood. I thought that was a granted thing.
Their first application was not for that. Their first application was for this, so that's what we're discussing.
Didn't put in for firewood, okay.
I did after our last
It was
meeting.
denied due to this application
Ex-
already being submitted.
Yes.
Okay,
So can I pass these to you guys about her report? I
we just gotta
print,
get a survey. I mean, the city will not come back to us again.
okay.
I don't believe.
How many copies do you have?
I have 4 copies.
Yeah, we, like, see, yeah, they have to get a survey.
Yeah, no, I think
No,
that's
no,
interesting,
no,
how they
no,
survey,
property lines,
right, you know, and maybe they own more than what they have. I don't know that.
I know, I
But I,
do.
but I, yeah, but
By
I know you
accident?
can't make a decision on that part of it right now without having the whole, the survey.
Yes, Danielle stated that was going to be a requirement that she spoke with them on, yeah.
Then they
But they
don't
would-
have to come back to, it. They can go to.
As
Greg
long as
Stein.
it's within their boundary lines
Push them
and
back.
they are actually diseased and dying, it can be administratively approved, yes.
Perfect. And that's the end of,
Somebody, you know.
yeah, that's.
Well, I'll make a motion to deny the application that for the abundance of the trees that they're talking about until survey. So I'll make a motion to remove the 2 trees that they requested in the very first meeting.
As soon as they get a survey.
If they have to get it surveyed, they cannot remove any trees because they don't,
Okay,
yeah. And staff denied removal of the trees based on their request for signage because that's not a reason to remove trees.
okay.
They have to get a survey.
So we have a motion to deny the permit request. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries to deny the permit, and we'll review, likely the city will review upon the survey. Okay, so next item we have is the approval of the minutes from May 2018. Are there any corrections or comments on the minutes?
What they just explained to you, you probably don't have to come back to us.
Yes.
You get a survey,
I-
trees are on your property, you're gonna call a guy named Greg Shuck and be real polite to him. Keep JB away.
You don't even have to see Craig, just get it surveyed, bring the survey report and a new tree cutting application saying how many is indicated here that you need to take out.
And how
So
many
bring that
trees are on
into
your
me.
property.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that also though, is that if they're diseased, right?
They
So,
still,
But if they're not diseased, they can still go ahead and cut the 6 trees that they're asking for, right?
if they are diseased, it can be administratively approved. If they are
Like
not,
us.
if they,
Well, I want
yes,
them to understand that's,
yes, if they are not diseased,
then it comes back here.
yes,
Okay.
So I just wanted
yes.
Okay.
so we know- so we
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we will accept the minutes as approved since there are no corrections or comments. The next item is the commissioners' reports.
Nothing for commissioner.
Okay, and the last item we have is any additional staff reports?
I will be out of town in August for our regular meeting. I'll be moving my son to college in Oklahoma. So we may not have an August meeting if I can't get someone to fill in for me.
Okay,
Who could you get to fill in for you?
I have no one.
You have no one, right?
had Martin, but he retired.
What about Justin? Craig. Craig's been in these meetings.
Yeah, I tried to make him come tonight, but he said no.
That guy.
But he's,
all right, well, congratulations on the going off to college, and now I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, meeting is adjourned.